Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at the 10 most dangerous tourist attractions in the world. We all like going on vacation. It's time to relax, spend time with your family and have fun. But these are some activities you really don't want to do on holiday unless you're a true adrenaline junkie. From a hotel that doubles up as a prison to a deserted island of dolls, prepare to get very scared. But first, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10, we have Shikoku Doll Island. Dolls are one of two things. They're either an innocent kid's toy or creepy possessed beings. Well, on this island in Japan, they're a mix of both. This island is located in Nagoro, Japan, and it's full of creepy zombie-looking dolls. Now that may be creepy, but the backstory as to why the dolls are there in the first place is even creepier. A 64-year-old artist returned to her hometown, which used to have hundreds of people in it. However, she'd run away when she was little, and since then the island's population had decreased to just 37 people and her family was gone. This caused her to lose her mind even more, as she was already known for having mental hallucinations. So she decided to repopulate the island by stitching around 400 small dolls all around the island. Now this was a little while ago, and the dolls are now all green, dirty and scary looking. They totally cover the island and are even set up doing jobs. For example, there are fisherman dolls, gardener dolls, and even undertaker dolls. This caused a lot of the remaining 37 people to leave the area as it just got too weird. Just imagine stumbling onto this ghost town of an island and seeing hundreds of dolls watching you wherever you went. This is of course super creepy, and most tourists who go here want to leave soon after arriving as it's so terrifying. Next up, we have Hotel Prison. What do you expect from a boutique hotel? A chocolate on your pillow, room service, a nice view? Well, what about a prison cell being under 24-hour surveillance and being shouted at by guards? Well, that is exactly what you'll find at Karosta Prison in Liepāja, Latvia. This used to be a Nazi prison and was later a Soviet prison, two groups of people not known for their hospitality. And what's more, it was a military prison holding prisoners of war, where unethical things are known to have happened. But today, it's a hotel. In fact, it describes itself as a boutique hotel. The gimmick about this place is that the guests are treated like prisoners. The staff or guards shout and swear at you, and they even play screams of prisoners and gunfire on the loudspeakers. They also have various activities such as airsoft, an escape from the USSR game, and something called Labyrinth of Senses in the North Forest. This isn't exactly somewhere you would go to relax, but if you're a big Orange is the New Black fan, then you can live like Piper and Alex in real life. It only costs $16 a night, which is cheap, but here's a tip. If you commit a crime, you can stay in a real prison for free. But seriously, would you guys ever stay in this place, or is this attraction just too creepy for you? Next up is Nuclear City. You know those post-apocalyptic cities in movies? Well, you can now actually visit one of these in real life. It's called Pripyat, and it's a town in Ukraine. Over 50,000 people were evacuated from this place after the Chernobyl nuclear meltdown in 1986. Since then, the place has become a ghost town and looks like something from a movie. The entire place is deserted and will likely remain that way forever. That is because the area was very badly affected by Chernobyl, and there's still so much radiation there. There are creepy things like old children's dolls in the street which were dropped as people left the town in a panic. And there's even an old amusement park with wooden rides rotting away. You might assume this place would be totally off limits, but you can actually do a tour of this place at your own risk. A tour guide shows you around the creepy town for a small fee. But one rule is not to touch anything, as there's still radiation left on everything in the town. You won't get any nice Instagram photos to show your friends here. But one thing you will get is some very eerie and creepy photos of old gas masks and some Soviet-era apartment blocks. The place is not only a super creepy tourist destination, but it's also dangerous too, as you're being exposed to nuclear radiation just by going there. An hour or two isn't enough to cause any serious harm, but it's a good rule in life never to go near nuclear waste at all. Next up is Paris Catacombs. Paris is the #1 tourist destination in the world. There's a lot of sights to see, from the Louvre to the Eiffel Tower, but underneath the city is the largest tourist attraction in Paris that many visitors don't even know exists. Under the city is a complex array of tunnels making up a catacomb. The Paris Catacombs are the world's largest crypt. It's made of 6 million real skeletons arranged into odd patterns. The place was used for mining, but that was hundreds of years ago. However, even as late as in the 90s, people were allowed to go down there and explore the catacombs. Hundreds of people are still missing down there today and are assumed to have passed away. They banned people going down there in 2001, but people still go down there, get lost, and pass away every year. This is very creepy on its own, but that's not all. One man actually caught an eerie creature on camera down there, which he says is a monster that eats people who venture into the tunnels. You can do a guided tour of this place, which is much safer than going alone, but even so, it's still by far the scariest place in Paris, France, or perhaps even the world. And with all those skeletons, it has to be the most haunted. Next up is Voodoo Market. One seriously creepy thing is voodoo dolls. They're designed as a form of revenge in many cultures. For example, if you have an enemy, you simply make a voodoo doll of them and then stab it with needles. This sets a curse upon the person and is supposed to cause them pain. Well, in Lomé, Togo, there's something called Akodesewa Market. It's the world's largest voodoo market and has many voodoo dolls as well as more scary stuff. It has things like skeletons, potions, and even things for animal sacrifices. The market smells terrible and many tourists can't bear to stay there for more than a few minutes. There are also crazy-eyed women known as voodoo women. They can allegedly heal someone or curse someone depending on what you want and how much you're willing to pay them. They can make creepy voodoo dolls of your enemies and do things like put water on them or set them on fire. And if you don't pay them enough, they're known to make a voodoo doll of you and set a curse on it. Talk about bad customer service. The market's open to tourists, but is also known for scammers and pickpockets who steal from you. So if you like getting your camera snatched or having a voodoo curse put on your name, then maybe you should give this place a visit. Coming up next is Edinburgh Castle. Who wouldn't want to visit a castle? They're usually giant, grand and historic houses. However, Edinburgh Castle, located in Edinburgh, Scotland, is the most haunted place on Earth. Even if you don't believe in ghosts, this place is very creepy. There are frequent reports of a phantom piper, a drummer with no head, and old ghosts of prisoners in the castle. In 2001, a group of scientists carried out a study in the castle thanks to all the odd ghost claims. The scientists were horrified to find sudden drops in temperature and their clothes being tugged on. And one female scientist even reported being touched by a ghost while at the castle. There have been dozens of ghostly images taken all over the castle, from tourist photos to surveillance footage. Security guards have also reported lights randomly turning on and burglar alarms being set off. But when they get to the room the alarm's in, it's totally empty and freezing cold. You can't stay at the castle, but you can take a tour of it. And they even do night tours if you dare. Would you visit this castle, or is that just too scary to even think about doing? Next up is the Lost Forest. We've already seen one creepy Japanese forest, that being the one on Doll Island. Well, this is another one, nicknamed the Lost Forest. However, it's not called that because the forest itself is lost, it's because most people who venture into it get lost. If you thought the Paris catacombs were bad, this forest is truly a terrifying place to get lost in. Over 100 people get lost in this forest every year. A lot of them are curious Japanese students who venture into this place thinking they'll make it out. If you go there, you'll see colored string all over the trees. This is because it's a method people use to find their way back. However, this often doesn't work as the string gets broken on sharp branches. Many say the forest is haunted by the people who pass away in it, and some even blame a sinister creature for the disappearances that occur. One time a young boy actually got lost in the forest for 2 weeks, but miraculously survived. This was because he found an old military training camp which had a water tap. However, most aren't so lucky, and hundreds of skeletons are littered all over this forest. You can go here free of charge, and many tourists do. However, thankfully, most don't actually try and enter the forest because it's nearly impossible to find your way back out again. Would you take a chance and venture into the Lost Forest if you were in Japan? Next up is Sedlec Ossuary. Something a lot of tourists do when visiting a new place is check out the local church. They're often old, interesting buildings, so that can teach you a lot about the place's history. Well, in the city of Kutna Hora in Czech Republic, there's a church named Sedlec Ossuary. That may not mean much to you, but what will is its nickname, which is the Church of Bones. It has a very creepy gothic interior design, as everything is made of bones. There's a coat of arms, a chandelier, and what looks to be some kind of bunting decoration, all constructed using bones. All parts of the body have been used in this church to make it very creepy. I know graveyards are usually nearby to churches, but here you don't even have to walk outside to see some bones. Just imagine your funeral taking place here. Talk about fitting. Of course, like any church, you can go into this place anytime and check it out. However, there have been a few cases of hauntings in the church, and some ghosts have even been caught on camera. Do you think these images are just camera glitches, or are they the ghosts of the people whose bones are in the church? And would you ever go and worship in this church, or is it just too scary? I definitely would like to look around, but I'm afraid of what else I might find. Next up is Island of Dolls. So we've seen one island full of dolls in Japan. That was because a woman went mad that everyone had left her village. Well, this is another island of dolls, and it's also about the idea of replacing people who are no longer around. This doll island is located near Lake Ximenco in Mexico. It's been there for over 50 years, and it was made by one Mexican man for one very creepy reason. He was walking in the area one day when he found the body of a young girl. He later had nightmares about it and heard her screaming. As a memorial, he strung up 2 dolls on a tree for her. This was supposed to stop her spirit screaming at night. Word of this soon spread, and people began doing it for their own loved ones. People tend to do this if they're having visions or nightmares about past loved ones. The dolls are supposed to ease their soul and stop them from bothering the living. Whether you believe that theory or not, this island has turned into one creepy doll sanctuary. You can go to this place if you're in Mexico, but if you don't like dolls, then I would stay well away. And also, if you were to pass away, would you like a doll to be strung up here for you? Tell me, because I can arrange it. Next up is lions. Everyone loves going to zoos. You can see animals like lions up close and personal, but thankfully they're safe behind a cage. But some people say it's a little mean to keep animals behind a cage. Well, that is where the human cage attraction comes in. In some wildlife parks in Africa, you can get into a cage on the back of a truck and be driven around. This is all while lions jump on the cage and try to break in. There are various types of human cages, to large metal cages, glass boxes, and small rickety cages. Now these are cool in the sense you get to see some amazing animals up close and personal. But one time a child got their hand bitten off by putting it outside one of the cages. And another time a lion pack actually broke into the cage and pounced on one of the tourists before park employees had to step in. Would you go to one of these cages, or do you prefer animals being behind the cage? I'd think I'd prefer to visit that haunted doll island rather than risk it in one of these lion cages. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for the scariest tourist attraction. And guys, definitely check out my second channel, The Crafty. There'll be a crafty video popping up on screen in a second, so click it and subscribe too. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.